Ryan Johnson introduced us to a gentleman detective who cracks cases with wild charisma and delicious food metaphors that left us hungry for more with 2019's Knives Out, and 2022's Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery took us even further down the rabbit hole with Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc. The sequel set up yet another tantalizing whodunit and officially kickstarted an utterly jocular franchise with absolutely no signs of slowing down. But could it really be that just one line is leading us to the next Benoit Blanc murder mystery? This Glass Onion clue reveals why Knives Out 3 will be so different, with a movie that's overflowing with cameos, celebrity commentary, murder, and much more. You're forgiven if you missed a strange sound here, or an oddball there. But when it comes to a murder mystery, it's always safe to assume that nothing is a coincidence. And with that being said, does that mean that Glass Onion actually set up a prequel? Let's back up a second. Remember when the disruptors of Glass Onion are talking on the dock in Greece, but they're all a bit too bamboozled by the whole experience to notice one particular stranger amongst them.
Hello! Oh my god! We can't hug, right? I mean, can we? I just want to hug everybody. We're going in some hug. Hi!
But you, hello, stranger danger.
Mr. Blanc, you are stranger danger?
Wait a second. Benoit Blanc?
Except the very perceptive Governor Claire DeBella, portrayed by the lovely Catherine Hahn. Oh my god, Benoit Blanc the detective, did you solve the murder of Claire starts?
Oh my god, are you Benoit Blanc, the detective? Did you solve the murder of, what's her name? That, the ballet dancer with the thing and the thing. That's you?
There are several things that anyone who has seen Knives Out would expect to hear. Harlan Thrombey,
I've given my family, I've done maybe without knowing, or maybe to keep them beneath me. I certainly should have, I don't know, encouraged Walt to.
or maybe that murder mystery novelist, or possibly even that tennis champ. Something along those lines in either case. But any of them would have been a callback to Knives Out. It would be a perfect little piece to the picture that is Benoit Blanc. This moment really would have been the perfect moment to put a little throwback in. But instead, Catherine continues with, what's her name? The ballet dancer thing. That's you? Ballet dancer thing? What is she talking about? In any other movie, a line like that can easily be brushed off the table. But we're talking about Benoit Blanc here. There's a reason for everything.
Mr. Braun, the large pendulous locket, which has not left your neck, bit out of keeping with your breezy island style. Would you kindly open it for us?
Baron Diamond!
Maybe you noticed the other clue that points in the direction of ballet. Don't be ashamed if you didn't notice it, because this one was hidden away really well. So, in case it passed you by, among the many glass baubles that embellish Miles's den, if you look really carefully, you notice that there's also a statue of 3 ballerinas. Now, one seemingly random reference to a ballerina is already kinda suspicious in any murder mystery, but 2 references to ballerinas in a murder mystery just can't be ignored. And I don't believe this is a red herring either. So let's take this wild horse called speculation on a ride. Going from Claire's line, it can safely be assumed that a ballerina was murdered in some mysterious way. And none other than our Benoit Blanc was the one who cracked the case. But let's not forget who says the line here. It's Governor Claire DeBella. And the way she says this line is kinda wishy-washy. As in, she says it in a way that a politician might say things. Think about it. She sets up the murder, but fails to remember the name of the female victim before rambling on ballet dancer thing. Gender norms could lead us to assume that the ballet dancer is the what's-her-name, but non-binary people and men ballet dance as well. Maybe the way Claire's mind fractures is a sign of the idea of the victim and the killer crashing into each other. Either way, it's clear that something happens in her mind right when she's already opened up her mouth and has no choice but to finish the thought. Could it be that she's confusing the killer and the victim? Or is there something else entirely going on here? Whatever it is, there's just no way that there was no purpose behind this purposely vague line, and I think it points to a Knives Out prequel. Maybe Knives Out 3 will actually look back on some intriguing investigation that occurred between the Thrombys, that New Yorker piece, and Benoit's odd Grecian getaway. That is, unless Knives Out 3 was actually teased in Knives Out. Given the fact that Claire is governor, working from home, and running for re-election, surely she's tapped into the news, which is exactly why her scrambled line is worth noting even if it is vague, especially because it's vague. But maybe the reason Claire director is a bit foggy on the details is because this ballerina news happened a long time ago, as in many years before the New Yorker profile. Detail-oriented and stern Linda can easily be trusted to remember the particulars of the case at the center of that profile in precise detail.
Did anyone besides the family show face?
Fran, the housekeeper. Marta, Arlen's caregiver. Good girl, hard worker. And Juanetta, great nana, Harlan's mom.
And your son, Ransom, did he attend as well?
Yes, but he left early.
Did you say that all three of you showed up around the same time?
No. Richard came early to help the caterers set up.
But would you be able to say the same thing about Joni? Joni mentions a tennis champ, but then also admits that she didn't actually read the article. In fact, she only read a tweet about it. Could it be that she's mistaken? Maybe the case was about a killed ballerina.
I read a tweet about a New Yorker article about you. The last of the gentleman's sleuths. You solved that case with the tennis champ? You're famous.
Unless it's about a killer ballerina, of course. Now, obviously, it's also entirely possible that Rian Johnson is using both these lines to set up a prequel. There had to be a certain case that ultimately put Benoit Blanc on the map, right? The one case that made Benoit Blanc the man who we know now, and the case that helped Benoit get out of the shadow of his father. I, for one, would love to see what that case was. Looking at the clues that we can find in the movies, it may very well be a case involving both the tennis champ and a ballerina. For all we know, one of them was wrongly accused of the murder of the other, and Benoit Blanc was their last hope of justice, much like he was for an overwhelmed nurse and a grieving schoolteacher. But at the end of the day, who knows what Rian Johnson is thinking? The only thing we'll ever know for sure is that just like the previous two movies, the next one will be a whiplash and will take us places we never knew we needed to go. That's the one promise that Rian Johnson has made, because to the director and writer, the murder is actually the least important part of the movie. In fact, he'd say that his job is to create an emotionally engaging narrative, as opposed to a movie that's built around purposeless plot twists. You know, kind of how movies were built around certain 3D effects when 3D had just become a thing, instead of incorporating the 3D in as a result from an engaging story. I don't start with a crime, Johnson himself says. I start with the structure of the story and what the audience's journey is actually going to be through the story. So, how far along in the process is Johnson now? Unfortunately, not very far. Johnson has been jotting down ideas in notebooks over the holidays. This way, he'd be ready to dive right into the real work once the new year had come around. But it's probably going to be a while still before we're let in on what the next Benoit Blanc movie will be about. And in the meantime, even if we never figure it out on our own where that will be, let alone what it will be about, it's fun to pretend to be a detective yourself every once in a while, isn't it? But yeah, that was the one clue that may reveal why Knives Out 3 will be so different. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.